Hello and welcome back to another video on the Wrestle's Way and to Full Gear Out of 10, and it didn't disappoint. We had a number of surprises, including WWE legends rocking up in the Elite Deletion match. There were 2 title changes, and it was definitely one of the best AEW pay-per-views ever, so stay tuned to see what happens. By in the new NWA Women's Champion Serena Deeb for Allysin Kay. With the crowd behind the match, the opening bell, the 2 ladies didn't disappoint. A very back and forth match, but Deeb ended up retaining the title, forcing Allysin Kay to tap out to the Serenity Lock, and this was a really good show opener, and I definitely think AEW should really be signing Allysin Kay after this, because she was definitely a standout here for me. So I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. Great start to the show. First match on the show was Kenny Omega v Hangman Page in the #1 contender final tournament thing. Omega and Page traded chops early on, before Kenny followed it up with a moonsault from the middle rope, and Page replied with a springboard clothesline. Both men were brawling on the elevated entrance ramp, and it was very back and forth. Kenny Omega hit a Tiger Drive 98 for a near fall, but Page replied with a lariat by the Deadeye, but it was only enough for a near fall. The finish eventually saw Kenny Omega catch Hangman's foot and hit him with a dragon screw on the middle rope and a one-winged angel, and that was it. I'm going to give it a 7.25 out of 10. Really good match. I think they picked it in the right spot. It really suited that. Great match, and I think the right result, so yeah. Next up on Full Gear, it was John Silver versus Orange Cassidy, which was originally supposed to be on the buy-in. John Silver dominated the opening stages of the match, following lots of antics from the Dark Order. Cassidy went for his trademark spinning DDT, but Silver reversed it midair for a great spot. Cassidy headed to the top rope, but Silver tossed him onto the single-arm gorilla press and was in control. More distractions from Dark Order allowed Silver to get further on top before John Silver's going for a discus clothesline. Orange Cassidy ducked it and hit him with a beach break for the win. I'm going to give this a 6.75 out of 10. Really great performance from both, and definitely exceeded my expectations in terms of quality of match. It was TNT title time then between Darby Allin and Cody. 2 men felt each other out at the beginning before Darby Allin got on top for a brief moment when Cody took control as he locked in a modified hammerlock. Cody set Darby Allin up for the crossroads after he eventually got out of it, but he managed to hit the turnbuckle, and Darby Allin tried to roll him up, but it wasn't enough. He followed it up with a modified stunner and a coffin drop, but it only got a near fall. Both men traded roll-ups, and Darby Allin ended up pinning Cody unexpectedly. Cody looked shocked, but eventually shook his hand before Team Taz came out and beat them both up. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Right result, I think. Great match, and it's good to see Team Taz are still in the picture, and I think they'll be great first challenges for Darby Allin. Women's title time between Hikaru Shida and Nyla Rose. Fast-paced start to the match it was. Hikaru Shida set up a chair, but Nyla Rose took her out before she could use it. Rose went for a table, only to be stopped by the referee. With the ref distracted, Vicky Guerrero took out Shida from behind, and Rose then got on top. The challenger locked in the single-leg Boston Crab, causing further damage, and Rose went for a senton but missed, allowing Shida to get in control. Shida hit the challenger with a massive Falcon Arrow from the top rope. However, she pulled Rose's head up before the 3 count, which Rose later did to her finisher. Back in the ring, Shida hit another Falcon Arrow after a bit of a confrontation outside the ring, and followed it up with 4 knee strikes to put Nyla Rose away. And after the match, there was some tension between Nyla and Vicky. Don't break those 2 up, because I think they're quite good to each other. But anyway, I'm going to give this a 6.75 out of 10. A fairly decent match. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And then it was the time we've all been waiting for. FTR v Young Bucks, years in the making. FTR had a clear game plan and focused on Matt Jackson's injured leg early on in the match, before Matt hit a moonsault outside early on to put the good guys, or supposed good guys, in front. Wheeler and Harwood tried to stop Matt Jackson from making the tag out to his brother, however, and then back and forth it was before he finally managed to hit the tag, and the Bucks hit a BTE trigger to Harwood in the middle of the ring. Wheeler broke up the count before Wheeler powerbombed Nick Jackson through the announce table, and FTR hit Matt Jackson with a spike pile driver, and it looked like the match was over before Nick Jackson came in and hit him with a super kick, and then a 450 splash, and they finally got the win. And what a match this was! I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Even exceeded my expectations. The build wasn't the greatest, but boy oh boy, they more than made up for it here. Up on Full Gear, it was the Elite Deletion match, and boy oh boy, this was something. Sammy was driving a golf cart into the Hardy compound before Matt Strone spotted it, and Matt ran it over, and he was on top early on. The fight moved over to Matt Hardy's front lawn, and Sammy caught him with a spinning kick before Hardy hit a suplex onto the lawn. Matt then took out a scepter from the fountain and clobbered Sammy with it. And it moved to the middle of the Hardy compound. Matt hit a side effect for a near fall, and then brought a table into the ring and powerbombed him before the rest of the inner circle, except for Hager and Jericho, rocked up and were beating Thingy up, and it looked like it was all over before Private Party came in. They were all taken out, and then we got a surprise appearance from a few legends. Gangrel came out with Hurricane Helms. I was really not expecting to see this, and they helped Hardy. There was an all-out brawl. Santana and Ortiz rocked up, and they were fighting all the legends except for Gangrel, who was on their side. Matt Hardy took a steel chair and hit Sammy Guevara with it in the face, and that was the match. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. This was really quite something, and I really don't know what to think about it, so I'll give it a 7. Jericho then took on MJF to see if MJF would join the inner circle. The mutual respect didn't last long. Chris Jericho went for a Judas effect right out of the way, but instead of catching MJF, he hit the ring post. MJF tried to capitalise before Jericho got on top again. He briefly locked in the armbar, but Jericho managed to get out of the lock with a lion tamer. It was all back and forth, very technical match, before Jake Hager interrupted, and so did Wardlow. Aubrey was distracted. MJF was about to hit Jericho with the golden ring, but no, he chucked Floyd at Jericho, and then it looked like he hit him, but no, he didn't. MJF rolled him up, 1, 2, 3, and MJF is part of the inner circle. They were all friendly at the end, but I doubt they will be on Wednesday, so I'm really excited to see where this goes. I think it should be really interesting, so I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. And then it was main event time between John Moxley and Eddie Kingston. It didn't take long to get brutal. Kingston had a chair, Moxley had barbed wires, and both men were bleeding straight from the off. Kingston replied from the barbed wire with a series of suplexes. He then took a chair and unloaded it on Moxley before Moxley caught him with a suplex and hit him with a clothesline. Kingston then hit an orange slam before Moxley hit back with a pile driver and locked in a bulldog lock. Moxley wrapped some barbed wire around his arm and then made it a choke. The referee pleaded with Kingston to quit, and eventually he had no other choice and quit. And wow, this was very brutal. Yeah, this was crazy. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. Please see Moxley win, and I can't wait for Moxley v Omega. I'm going to give AEW Full Gear a 8 out of 10. This for me was one of the best pay-per-views AEW have put on, just outstanding from start to finish. There wasn't a match or a segment in there which I didn't like. I thought everything was good, all the matches flowed well, and it was just a very good wrestling show. But anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, and subscribe to my channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.